Stop imagining a snake. Right now, delete the image of the green garden snake coiled around an apple tree from your mind. It's wrong. It is a caricature that we have been fed for centuries, a mistranslation that has softened one of the most terrifying encounters in human history. The English Bible tells you Eve spoke to a reptile. But the original Hebrew text, the raw code of the ancient world, tells a completely different story. It whispers about something far more dangerous. It hints at a shining, radiant entity, a master of forbidden knowledge, and a cosmic rebellion that didn't just happen in a garden, but shattered the hierarchy of heaven itself. We are about to open the hood of the book of Genesis and look at the engine, the Hebrew language. And when we do, we're going to find that the story of the fall isn't a fable about fruit. It's a record of a coup d'etat. But before we confront the creature, we have to confront the text itself. We have to understand just how fragile our English translations really are. Most of you can recite the first sentence of the Bible in your sleep. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. It sounds solid, absolute. It feels like the bedrock of reality. But what if I told you that even this sentence, the very first assertion of faith, might be grammatically incorrect? This isn't a conspiracy theory. It's a matter of syntax that has divided scholars for thousands of years. It all hinges on the first word, bereshith. For centuries, translators have treated this as an independent statement. Boom, in the beginning, done. But when you look at the vowel points, when you look at the grammar of the ancient Near East, a different picture emerges. Many modern scholars argue this word is in the construct state. It's like a chain link. It doesn't stand alone. It leans on the next word. If this is true, the Bible doesn't open with a period. It opens with a comma. It would read, "When God began to create the heavens and the earth." Do you feel the shift? The traditional version gives you creation out of nothing, ex nihilo. The alternative suggests a process, a flowing narrative where God steps into a chaotic state and begins to order it. Why does this matter? Because if we have been debating the meaning of the very first word for 2,000 years, what else is hiding in the text? What other shocks are buried under layers of tradition? To find the biggest one, we have to fast forward. We have to leave the moment of creation and enter the scene of the crime. Picture the Garden of Eden, a biosphere of perfect logic. Adam and Eve are there. And then, the villain enters. We call him the Serpent, but pause the tape. Look at Eve's reaction in the text. A snake, a literal, belly-crawling reptile, starts speaking to her. And what does she do? Does she scream? Does she run? Does she look for a weapon? No. She engages. She has a theological debate. There is zero surprise recorded in the narrative. This is your first red flag. Either the Garden of Eden was a Disney movie where all animals held conversations, or Eve wasn't talking to an animal at all. She was talking to someone she recognized, someone she respected. To identify him, we have to perform a forensic analysis on the Hebrew word used here, nachash. In English, we just say serpent. Simple. But in Hebrew, words are like polyprisms. You turn them, and the meaning changes. Nachash is built on a three-letter root that is incredibly slippery. Yes, the noun form means snake. That's the surface level. But we are here for the deep dive. If you look at the verb form of this same root, nochesh, it doesn't mean to hiss or slither. It means to practice divination. It means to decode omens, to whisper spells, to enchant. Suddenly, the creature in the tree isn't just a reptile. He is a sorcerer. He is a user of occult knowledge. He is offering Eve the one thing diviners always promise, secret insight into the future. "You will not surely die," he whispers. That is the promise of an oracle. But it gets deeper. There is a third layer to this word, a layer that has been largely ignored because it is uncomfortable. Some scholars propose a linguistic connection to the word nehoshet, which means bronze or copper. Think about polished bronze in the desert sun. It blinds you, it radiates, it shines. This suggests that the root of nachash carries the meaning of the shining one. Now, Look at the scene again. Eve isn't standing in front of a snake. She is standing in front of a luminous, radiant being, a figure of light and power. If a shining one, a divine guardian, spoke to you, you wouldn't run. You would listen. You would assume he speaks for God. And that is exactly what makes the deception so lethal. This isn't just wordplay. The Bible backs this up if you know where to look. We have to follow the trail of the Nachash into the wilderness. Go to the book of Numbers, chapter 21. The Israelites are rebellious, and God sends judgment. He sends fiery serpents. The Hebrew phrase is ha-nachashim, ha-seraphim. Note that word. Seraphim. If you go to Isaiah chapter 6, the seraphim are not snakes. They are the highest order of angelic beings. They are the burning ones who fly around the throne of God, screaming, "Holy, holy, holy." They are entities of fire and light. So we have a direct textual link between the Nachash, the serpent, and the seraphim, the burning, shining angels of the throne room. Even the cure in Numbers 21 reinforces this. Moses is told to make a bronze serpent, a shining Nachash. The visual language is consistent. The ancient reader wouldn't have pictured a garden snake. They would have pictured a high-ranking member of the heavenly host, a guardian of the throne, a being of terrifying beauty. This completely reframes the curse in Genesis 3. God says, "On your belly you shall go, and dust you shall eat." Think about the physics of that curse. If it was already a snake, it was already on its belly. That's just biology. But if this was a seraph, a winged, upright, shining guardian, then the command to crawl on its belly is a demotion. It is a humiliation. It is God ripping the wings off a dragon and casting it into the dirt. The physical form of the snake is a monument to a fallen glory. So who was he? Who was this shining one? To answer that, we have to understand the politics of heaven. The Bible doesn't describe God sitting alone in a void. It describes a divine council, a cosmic boardroom. Psalm 82, Job 1, Genesis 1. They all hint at an assembly of sons of God, created divine beings who helped govern the cosmos. The Nachash was one of them. He was an insider. He walked in Eden, the garden of God, not as an intruder, but as a guardian. But something broke. He looked at humanity, these creatures made of dirt, and he saw that they were given the image of God. They were destined to rule, and he couldn't handle it. This wasn't just a prank with a piece of fruit. It was a political assassination. The Shining One wanted to stage a coup. He wanted to trick humanity into forfeiting their birthright, to align with him instead of Yahweh. He sold them a lie about godhood so he could become the god of this world. When you read the rest of the Bible with this lens, the text explodes with new meaning. Look at Ezekiel 28. It talks about the king of Tyre, but the language is too big for a human. It speaks of a guardian cherub who was in Eden, the garden of God, who was perfect in beauty and covered in precious stones until unrighteousness was found in him. Look at Isaiah 14. How you are fallen from heaven, O day star, son of dawn. The shining one, the morning star. The apostles knew this. Paul didn't warn the Corinthians about snakes. He warned them that Satan masquerades as an angel of light. He was quoting the Hebrew understanding of Genesis 3. He knew the enemy doesn't come looking like a monster. He comes looking like a savior. He comes shining. So why does this matter to you right now? Because it changes the scale of the story you are living in. If you think the fall was just a mistake involving a snack, the solution is just behavior modification. But if the fall was a cosmic insurrection started by a brilliant, radiant, multidimensional entity, then the world you live in is a war zone. Evil is not just a concept, it is an intelligence. The deception in the garden was the first shot in a war for the dominion of earth, a war that is still raging. The enemy is still the Nachash. He is still the enchanter. He is still whispering that you can be your own God, that you can define good and evil on your own terms. We have peeled back the translation to reveal the creature beneath. We've gone from a simple story to a complex reality of divine counsels, shining rebels, and ancient curses. The Bible is not a book of children's stories. It is a high-fidelity record of a spiritual war. And now that you know what the text really says, you have to ask yourself, when the Shining One whispers to you, will you recognize the voice? If you want to keep pulling these threads, if you want to see what else has been lost in translation, hit that subscribe button. We are going to deconstruct the text verse by verse until we find the truth. I'll see you in the next deep dive.